Oh, excuse me. Hi, I'm just playing with my new toy. This is a castanet machine, and I bought this specifically for the making of this video. These are the kinds of lengths that I go to in order to bring you people superior content. What other guitar YouTubers are going to be going out buying castanet machines for their videos? I don't know. Anyway, today I'm going to be looking at the song Ghost Riders in the Sky. And this is a bit of a country and western cowboy classic. You might know it from the Johnny Cash version of this tune, but the version of it that I'm going to be looking at is a twangy instrumental rendition. I didn't actually know this version up until quite recently, and I happened upon it whilst browsing through YouTube, and it's one of those videos you see and you just have to learn it, and it's an amazing video. I will put a link to it above so that you can check it out, but it appears to be from a 60s TV show. And you've got this very 60s looking band or orchestra all dressed in very sharp suits. We've got some wonderful twangy guitar played on a jazz master by someone called Neil LeVang, and we appear to have Salvador Dali playing maracas as well, just as a nice little bonus. So let me begin by playing this for you, and then I will break down what's going on. So there we are, and this song has been recorded and covered by many people, most famously I think by Johnny Cash, but the song's actually been around for a long time. It's originally I think from 1948 and written by an actor called Stan Jones. And the version that I'm going to be talking about today, as I say, is taken from this great YouTube video, which I think is a clip from something called the Lawrence Welk Show. And coming from the UK, that doesn't really mean very much to me, but I think if you're from the US, that will be something that's a lot more familiar. It's a long-running musical variety show, I think, that ran from the 60s right through to the 80s, led by accordionist Lawrence Welk, who'd obviously assembled quite a fine group of musicians to play with him. And amongst those musicians was the guitarist Neil LeVang, who, just reading up on Wikipedia, was a very accomplished session player as well, played with all kinds of people, including Elvis and Glenn Campbell and Frank Zappa as well. So let's get down to business, shall we? And I'll show you how this one is played. This one's in the key of A minor, and there's actually a modulation halfway through, and we're going up to the key of C minor. But let's start with the opening melody. This is the verse melody, and I think with this one, if you want to learn it, it's worth checking out some of the other versions, particularly the ones with vocals in it, because that's really going to help when you learn these phrases, if you can relate the melodies to the lyrics of the song. So let's start with the verse melody, which if you remember, it goes like this. So this is fairly straightforward. All of the notes here taken from the A minor scale. I'm just going to break it down into the individual phrases. The first phrase goes like this. And this is all played over an A minor to C kind of a sound. So that kind of a sound. And we're starting off with a kind of pickup note, just a low E. Then we're hitting the root note, climbing up to a C, then going down to a low G, low E, back to G. So that's our first phrase. Then we've got kind of an answering phrase. So this starts off exactly the same way, but then it climbs a bit higher. So going up to this E note here, we've got a little hammer on I'm hearing here from a open D to that E. And then the melody develops a little bit further. So again we're going higher, this time up to a high A. Down to the E, another one of those D to E hammer-ons. Down to the open A again, and then the final phrase of the verse. So it's going down to this low F, and then C, and then we got C, C, A, G, A. So it's quite a simple melody, and with something like this you just want to make sure you're playing it with confidence and with authority. It's not as easy as you might assume with things like this. You want to make sure your rhythm is really good, and in particular that your picking is good and is working for you. And with this particular melody I'm playing it with kind of down up strokes of the pick, I think. So down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And that for me seems to reinforce the groove and the rhythm of this piece. I'm not saying that's the only way to do it. Often when you're picking just about anything on the guitar, there are multiple ways of doing it that are going to work. But when I'm listening to people and watching people playing, if they're running into problems with something, if it's not flowing or it's not grooving properly, usually the culprit is going to be the picking hand. And you just need to decide on a picking strategy that's going to work for you and is going to flow and enable you to play these kind of things in a relaxed way. So experiment with that, but I recommend the down up strokes of the pick for most of this, I think. So that's the verse. Let me just put all of that together for you one more time. And what happens at the end of the verse is Neil LeVang falls into this kind of pattern. Quite a common country style pattern, reminds me a bit of Luther Perkins, the great Johnny Cash guitar player. And we're playing over the A minor chord here, remember, and we're just playing the root and then the E note here, this is the fifth, and then we're playing a low E, so it's another fifth and then back to the root again. So that kind of pattern. It's like a bass line played on the guitar, really. So I'm picking that down, down, up, down, down, up. Actually quite challenging to play that up at the speed of this song, but it doesn't need to be super clean, I don't think, but that's the kind of thing that you're going for. And little bit of palm muting is certainly going to help there as well. So that happens at the end of the first verse as a kind of bridge in between the two verses. And then we go into the second verse, which is played exactly the same way as the first verse. Let's move on to the chorus. So we've got this. So the chorus is played over a C chord going to an A minor. So it's starting on the C, which is kind of the relative major chord. So it gives the chorus a bit of a lift. I don't think Neil LeVang is actually playing the chord here, but it's played by the band. And then LeVang is playing this answering phrase. So he's just playing thirds here on the top two strings. So we've got C and an E, moving up to an E and a G. And you could just see these notes as being the top part of C chords, really. So and I think he's just playing thirds on the top two strings. You could play triads here, that would sound good. So adding in that extra note on the third string. And then the chord changes to A minor and LeVang is playing this. So we've got an E and an A, and then a C and an E, and you can see these as the top notes in A minor chords. So again, if you wanted to, you could fill out the sound a bit more and play triad. So and then we've got more twangy stuff. This is kind of the refrain of the song, the Ghost Riders in the Sky. So straightforward, just E and F, C, and then back to A, and we've got some more of this. Next we've got the modulation, and everything is going up a minor third to the key of C minor, and really everything is just repeated in the new key. So we've got another verse and another chorus, but in the key of C minor we haven't really got those open strings available, so we're playing everything as fretted notes. So we're starting off with this. This is our little pattern that we played on the A minor chord. Here we're playing it as part of the C minor chord, so we've got the root and the fifth. So I've kind of got a C power chord here. I'm just moving my first finger over to get that low fifth, that G note. So that sets up and establishes the new key, and then we're into the next verse. So exactly the same melody as before. I've got a pickup note, so G going to our root, which is now C. Climbing up the C minor scale. Then we got this B flat note here. You can see on the videos of Neil LeVang playing it, he reaches for that B flat down at the first fret. You could play the same note here at the 6th fret on the low E if you wanted to. So B flat, G, B flat. Then the melody develops. Going up to that high G, and then again. And again, we've got those little hammer-ons in the same place. I think sometimes those are slides as well. So and then we're going down low. So you've got G to A flat, and then the E flat there, and then so that's the verse, the third verse in C minor. I've just put all of that together one more time for you. Then we're into another chorus, this time in the key of C minor, but otherwise it's exactly the same. It starts with a bit more of this stuff. And this time the chords we're playing over are going to be E flat going down to C minor. So we've got the E flat and then the thirds on the top two strings. So here I've got frets 4 and 3, 8 and 6. And then over the C minor, I've got 8 and 8 going down to 4 and 3. If you're playing on a Jazzmaster or a guitar with a trem, then you can give that a little bit of a wobble on some of those parts. I think that sounds good. And then we've got the little refrain. So G to A flat, E flat, down to C. And for the outro of the song, I think it just hangs around on the C minor, and we've got some more of these thirds. And that's about it. It's a super fun one to play, at least I find this one fun to play, and it's straightforward enough, nothing too challenging, but there are some little bits in there that might be tricky and might require a bit of practice. I think to play the melody as cleanly as Neil LeVang does in those live performances is not easy, and so that's something to strive for, I think, just to play those melody notes, bring out all of the notes clearly with good rhythm, and this bit as well, not easy to play, so that might require a bit of practice. This one is quite fast, so you might want to build up to the speed of the record or the performance on the TV show. Just start slowly and build up speed whilst trying to maintain picking accuracy. The gear that I'm using today and guitar is my Jazzmaster. Had to be the Jazzmaster today really, and this is a 65 reissue Jazzmaster, and it's all pretty stock, I think. The only thing I have changed is the bridge, and this is a stay trem bridge. I replaced that after having some problems with the original bridge that the guitar came with. And the amp I'm using today is a Princeton Reverb, and shall I tell you a bit about that amp? No, I might save that for another video actually, but just going straight into the Princeton Reverb, not using any pedals today. I'm just going through a Boss tuner pedal actually, but no effects other than that. All of the effects you're hearing are coming from the amp. So I've got the amp set on about 4, and then some spring reverb and tremolo coming from the amp as well. There we go. Hope you enjoyed the video and hope you enjoy learning this one. As usual, I'm going to be tabbing all of this stuff out, and I'll put that up on my Patreon page along with my backing track, which has been lovingly and painstakingly made. Includes the castanet machine, of course. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.